So you should be able to see me in that camera. I'm red, white, and yellow. Everything around me is blue and black. Now, if this was a bridal party, I would be the hottest thing inside the picture. But you guys are not a bridal party. It still gets laughs, though. But the blue and black are obviously the colder spots in the camera. What we're looking for in this guy is for those black and blue spots to actually move or take shape on their own. So I get about anywhere between 4 to 6 pieces that are solid, like no question of what it actually is per year. Does this capture something every night? Obviously not. But we won't capture it unless we're recording. However, it is very cool to watch when you're going through this, like, holy cow. We also have 2 cheat sheets on here. There's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen that's giving us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. So it is kind of a nice little, like, hey, this is the coldest spot. You should be looking here. We also have, now that blue dot will be in the video. You will get the full video back on this, by the way. There's another bar here on the right-hand side. Sorry, I'm leaving Jackson out because he already has his device. So that bar gives us the high and low as far as the temperatures at that particular moment. It does fluctuate. That's an in real time only. It will not be on your video, but that blue dot is usually something that I'm watching for when I'm spot checking this video. So, Carlo, this one's going to go to you, my friend.
All right.
So, with yours, you want to keep, even when I tell you to do starts and stops with yours, you're going to keep the camera on the left-hand side, which is obviously where the wire is, because YouTube doesn't like flippies, and, you know, then I got to tell everybody to blame Carlo because it's that video, and it's never fine, so we don't want to go that way. Spirit boxes. We're going to be using 4 different types of spirit boxes. What the heck are spirit boxes? Cotty, because you actually kind of let the cat out of the bag and being very talkative about Jackson over here. I like chatty people to have these, so you're going to be number 1.
Okay.
As soon as the motorcycle goes away, I'll kind of explain what it is. In the meantime, I should set it up. It's not even the weekend yet, it's already loud down here. He's going to rev up again.
Yeah, he just he's parking.
He's parking.
Are basically
Maybe it's Ghost Rider. I don't know.
go
Ghost
test them.
Rider.
We should go test them out. This is a way for us to communicate with the dead. So they have 4 different styles of these. I'll explain each individual one.
Sabrina.
These are going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate on your TV shows and YouTube videos. It's the white noise that they give you and then tell you on the screen what they think they heard. We're going to be doing that in real time. This one is slowed down. Just like the ones on TV are really fast, this one is slowed down on purpose because I want the radio chatter to come through. So in the event you hear a song lyric, a DJ, or a commercial, and you can make out what they're saying, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of us. So, again, the cool thing about this one is it's going to record the entire session for us. I'm going to give you a set of earbuds, so you're going to be the only one that can hear it in real time. So whatever you hear, I'm still going to write down, so that way I can put it in the analysis, because I might miss that in the spot chat. So, with that, there's only one button you need to worry about.
Okay.
At the very top, there's a wheel that controls the volume.
Yep.
So, again, anything you hear out of this, the headphone jack is going to be right where my finger is, so let me get you a set of earbuds.
Okay.
And I do not want them back because earwax is gross.
That is gross. And I think I have
I need your medical history.
People have soft and like harder earwax, and I think I have soft, and it comes off on earbuds, and it's gross.
Okay.
TMI.
Like you think now that we all know.
That's because you just shower often. It's nice.
Is it?
I don't know, Jacko.
We don't know about you.
Coming off real blue on.
Yeah, real blue. Real cold.
Cold as ice.
Jen, was it?
Yes.
Okay. Not that you've been a chatty Cathy, but again, your wheel is right here at the top. It's not the button, just the wheel, and then the headphone jack is on the right hand side.
And I'm sorry, what are we listening for again?
Any kind of song lyric, DJ, commercial,
Yes.
anything you can
Yes.
make out, hopefully it'll tie into the places where we are,
Okay.
and obviously dealing with the location in person. So,
Are you when you're in, or we just?
oh yeah, you'll see as we kind of go through here, as we almost like, I don't want to say spread out, but you'll see I'm bouncing around literally from person to person, kind of going through like what's actually happening. So, This spirit box also doesn't record, but there's no earbuds to go with it because it's not loud enough. So I attach the ball speaker to it so that way we can actually hear it, and it is live. So it can get pretty loud. So we want to keep it just audible to where this is the device that's normally shared, because that way two people can kind of verify what the other one heard. So with that one said, look at me, man.
Yeah.
All right, you have one button to worry about. There's a volume button on the side of the ball speaker, and you hold it up gently to get the volume. And obviously, when I'm talking to the crowd, you'll hold it down. So that would be face up. So obviously, up is this way, and then down it'll be on the right hand side.
96.5.
Is it supposed to be on a particular station?
No, it's supposed to be sweeping every single station
Oh, that's
ever.
right, that's right. So I'm not supposed to touch it.
No. You only want to touch the wheel at the top of the volume control.
Right. Oh, that's what I was doing.
All right. This next one works a little bit different. This one actually gives us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So it'll save all of those terms to a list. 80% of what comes out of this list doesn't mean anything. This is a phone app. It's meant for a game and a host. So it's the other 20% that will, again, same thing. Location, person, one of us. Same principle. So we're going to clear out last night's history. They had about 90 terms. And we're going to start off fresh. Again, I'm going to be spot checking this. But this list in particular is kind of my first go-to piece because it gives me timestamps. If it gives me something relevant, obviously I'm going to tell you why it's relevant and then give you the backlink of where I got my information from so you guys can actually verify it. I'm sorry, I lost your name, sweetheart. Alexi. This one's going to go to you. I don't need to see every word that pops up. I will come to you when I want to see the list and where we're at. So that way I'm not being interrupted constantly. Because the words will pop up all the time. Let's see.
I know.
So these last two devices are similar, but not. So let's kind of get into what these are. What was your name again, Ray? Jose. Got it. Your device is an EMF detector. It will also measure ambient temperature, and it will also have a motion sensor on it. So let's get through it. The top numbers are EMF. That's electromagnetic fields. So any kind of electrical anything, including cell phones or any kind of electrical devices like I just handed out, will make this thing go off. Anything above 2.5 on your big numbers, I want to know what's going on, so that way we can kind of debunk it pretty quickly. In the event Carlo finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk that or prove it pretty quickly with the ambient temperature that's being measured by the yellow probe. Last but not least, the motion sensor on this thing, this is why everybody wants this device. If anything gets close to it, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go. Obviously, there's different colors along the front. Notice I pointed down because it's super bright. We can use this as kind of like a call and answer, so that way we can say, hey, can you make this thing go to blue, which means they only have to go so far before it gets to blue without touching it. So I'll show you more about that part of the device at our first stop. For now, just leave the little flap open in the back.
But this is the most important job, right?
Sure, we'll go with that. That's what makes you sleep at night,
He
dude?
obviously saved the best for last.
Hello.
Hello.
Because you both can listen to this guy, you're going to kind of need to know where to stop. This is just the EMF detector. So Jose's goes up to, I've seen it spike out to 100. Yours goes to 25. Now, with yours, I already have the colors memorized, so that way I can kind of keep an eye on it all night long. This is my first area of debunking something. We're too close to wires, there's a parking meter nearby, so forth and so on. Steady readings are more like something man-made. So if I see the lights just on, like right in the middle, you're probably near something man-made. If it's going erratic all over the place, or you just get a quick red and it goes back down to green, you probably have something else going. It doesn't make any noise, doesn't vibrate, doesn't do anything crazy, it just blinky lights.
Got it.
But with that way you guys know where to stop and actually have questions and work together. Is that cool?
Sure.
Alright, normally I would team up your device with Carlo's. It's so hard not to say Carlos.
I know, it's a challenge.
Well,
That's
he's saying
Carlo.
Carlos.
Yeah,
He's possessive.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like stopped myself, but like no, that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm an English major. I should know these things. So everybody's geared up. Go have fun. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, I'm like, you don't come like an hour.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a drink.
Yeah.
It's only a couple $1,000s of equipment in your hands. Go have a good time.
No problem.
All right, so hold on to your questions. Let's talk about why we started here. Big John's behind me. Of course, we started at a haunted location. Of course, and we're going to talk about this earthquake too. So, Big John's, actually was named after a football player. 1947 New York Giants is the team that he played for. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel that they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off. They come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Why they kept it there? Who knows? Different times. Big John gets up from the bar. He starts pounding these guys right into the floor, just beating the hell out of them. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck. The bullet lands in the wall. John gets up after being shot. Goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, and ambulance. So first off, nobody dies in that story. What's haunting the place is the bullet wound. It's allegedly still here. I say allegedly because they just renovated the place to turn it back into Big John's. It wasn't Big John's last year. Just so you know, it's been recently renovated. So even if it has been filled in, John's blood is still in this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. I bring this story up on purpose. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, whether Jackson thinks so or not. If anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I don't know how it's going to affect you, so let me know what's going on so we can move the whole group so that one person can get to safety. Is that fair? Again, I won't say that people haven't passed out from this floor. I even tell the story of the person passing out months ago because it's actually relative to the story. So somebody remind me at our last stop to tell that part of the story. Let's talk about something a little happier, right? You guys already know about the big earthquake because I'm sure your carriage ride said it over and over and over again.
We weren't in it, so.
Correct. It was in 1886. I'm sure you
Oh,
know.
no, I meant we weren't on the carriage ride.
Oh. I thought you meant you weren't in the earthquake. Like, good thing. I might have to put the EMF meter on you. So, this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building behind me also wraps around the front on the east bay side, which is this rope right here. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed him. So you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently, allegedly, a lot of that story do not have any proof. Just a great segue to turn it on. So, you guys ready to go ghost hunting? Let's do this.
What is it? What's over here?
Those are apartments that people live in.
Is somebody in the window? Making sure to see it.
I know this is getting smaller by the minute.
I'm sorry, can you remind me one more time? We're supposed to tell you what, when?
It's a story about the past.
We'll get into that.
When a song comes on?
Or lyrics, Scotty.
Let's start with this location, and it'll explain more. This, as your entire time with me tonight, should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101, right? Just we're going to level up as we move out throughout the night. This level is very easy. The history here is a one-liner, and it's basically so you guys can all get used to your devices. I get to show you more hands-on tactics with your radio. You should hear. I want you to hear the radio. Song lyrics, DJs, commercials. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. All right, you guys. I don't know if you can smell them. I can. I'm not 6 inches deep. But anyway, the history here is really, really simple. This is the same red barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So, let's talk about spirit boxes. We do have 4 of them in play tonight. Let's get most of you done and out of the way. Spirit boxes, this is not television. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody wants to ask, right? Because if somebody answers no, somebody's here. They answered you. We're going to ask non-yes and no questions all night long. For example, in this location, I want you to ask questions you already know the answers to. Like, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is, right? Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. I said looking because we do have a digital word list being played. She's not listening to anything. So keep in mind that those of you with loud spirit boxes, this one and then the 2 with the earbuds in it, The word red might not be in the DJ or song lyric at that particular time, but fire truck, blood, heart, all three of those things are specifically red. Excuse me, what color is the big red barn? Fire truck. That's an acceptable answer to me. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there's two pieces of evidence before I can verify that it's actually paranormal. For another example.
What the fuck was that?
I have no idea.
A dog.
See, this is why we have gear. In the event that our word list gives us the word art, you hear the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see where I have to take these two clues, and 40 and art by themselves don't mean anything. A lot of the stories tonight are going to have a lot of people with the same name. Lots of Johns, Georges, Elizas. And we're talking 17 and 1800s people. They're all going to have the same damn name. So we need to know who we're talking to. That's kind of how I'm going to go through this throughout the night. And we're going to be in spaces like this, where we can actually spread out a little bit and not we're on top of each other. And that way I can bounce around and say, what are you catching on the camera? What have you heard on your spirit box? And you guys are going to see me write a lot of things down to see if I can match anything up as I'm going through your data tomorrow morning. So sometimes it shows up in real time where Art Faircloth is there and I have his jersey number, but I might not catch it till tomorrow. So if you hear something that's a little weird or a little odd or even something a little funny, let me know what it is. It might be relevant. You just never know. It might be relevant to a whole sentence that we can capture from one spirit box to another one to another one to another one, and then we have some kind of blue blob on the thermal imaging camera. Do you guys see where all the clues will link up together? So 40% of your evidence will show up in real time. The other 60% comes up through our research tomorrow. It's usually about the balance. Again, this is just from, I don't know how many hours in the field I have, but that's usually the general consensus. From here, I do want you guys to spread out a little bit. As far as your spirit box, the horses don't like the loud white noise, so just kind of keep that in mind. You don't want to turn it up too loudly when you're up towards the front end of the lot. You are going to stay within the confines of the lot. We're only going to be here for like 5 minutes, so I can show the cameras a few extra tricks, and then I can show Jose how to use that REM pod motion sensor. And then we're going to go deep dive into much further history than bunnies and football players. So this is kind of how that's going to go. So cameras, both of you want to stay with me, and then I'll show you more tactics with your devices. Everybody else, let's spread out. Let's do this. Alright, so your particular camera, the record button is at the very top. You actually have two lights working for you. You accidentally shut off the other one. You have a short range, which is right here. There's a red button right there that'll shut it off. So if you're in a group of people and somebody's like really close, you can see how it reaches out. You can go ahead and turn it off, and the long range will still work for you. This other guy gives us night vision. We don't use night vision because we don't like the it's not giving us any accuracy. There to stop the but with this guy, you just need to keep it on all night long to make sure you're unsure like if it's actually on or not. If you turn it around so that the face, there's 4 red dots that's off. So that's your infrared light. So basically we don't have exactly. So you've already set it down, so that's why I said if you're unsure, just flip it around so you can see. What I'm looking for in this video, you capture a lot of words. We're going to capture a lot of insects too, so it's up to me to figure out which ones are which. But with the same thing is that I'm looking for things where I point that camera and turn this guy on. So kind of see how I'm in a purple circle. I'm going to be looking for things in the darkness outside the purple circle. So I really want that long range to really capture what's going to be happening. I only have a handful of pieces from this device. I've only had it for about 4 weeks. And I can see it. I only have a handful of pieces from this device. I've only had it for about 4 weeks. Oh yeah. In this location, I literally just want you to get used to how it reacts to certain things. Alright, Carlo, with your device, you're still recording, so you're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times. The reason I say that is because watch what happens when my hand comes. Sorry. I don't know if I was interrupting something.
This is gross.
So, kind of, you got somebody in view right now, but a better example is point your camera at the wall. It should bleed out mainly to one color.
Yeah,
Okay.
except for the window.
Now go ahead and keep it there. No, yeah, keep it on the blank wall. And I'm going to put my hand into view, and the wall should change color.
Mm-hmm.
So again, my skin is going to be the warmest thing out here. So you want to try to keep somebody with that big variation of color. I mean, we have a total of 7 other people here, well actually 8 other people here tonight. So you should be able to easily capture somebody in the middle of your frame anywhere. The other piece too about your camera, people don't like their cars being filmed. So if we're going to be in spaces like this and somebody's going to their car, you're just casually holding a cell phone. People, I mean, they don't know what we're doing. However, if we were car thieves, that would be our first choice.
Yeah, but I'll stray away from that. I don't want to upset anybody.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the other piece on yours is that blue dot likes to default to the sky when the sky is in view. So your goal is to try to keep the sky out and people in. Some of these spaces, that's going to be impossible. I completely understand. At that point, I know where we're at, so at least I can watch for the bluer figures to kind of move on their own. So, and you're still recording, I'll let you know when to stop. Let's see, spirit box. Heard anything on here yet? So as it's sweeping through the station, you should hear little tiny voices, like little tidbits. If something is clear, that's what I want to know. So,
100 was the thing. For those clear.
Okay. So above 100. Okay. So we've heard something. I don't see one of them right here. Not to my knowledge, so I'm not going to write it down. But you guys both, that was the point that I wanted to make, is that you actually heard something. What's coming up on your word list? Something significant that you think might be relevant here? Really? Very
You should call me later.
Because I need someone in frame to back away.
I'm gonna back away.
No, meaning so I can like compare something in the back of you. These are all cars.
What is the color of the pizza?
Yeah, what is the color of the red barn? I know. Like, I noticed that too. He's like, what's the color of the red barn? Really?
Guys, on Alexi's word thing, Jose and Cuban came up.
on yours.
What?
I hear the radio every once in a while.
So, are any voices coming through? I mean, even the DJs in the
Wait,
song,
how do they
can you make any of them out?
how do they know it was
With the
the nationality?
They're too quick.
I know.
It's not
Because
an easy job,
because none of us has said it.
just so you know.
Can I read it like
We can raise it. We're actually going to move on to the next stop. And after I'm done telling the history there, you can probably be a little bit louder, just because I don't want to spook the ponies here. So the ponies don't like the white hoods. They don't even like us talking out here. I'm surprised I haven't kicked yet.
Oh, that was a kick.
Jose, how are we doing on your device? Have you gotten any spikes at all?
No, only like 0.8.
Okay, so that's really insignificant. I expect that. And any lights coming out of the K2 meter?
No.
Mine?
Yeah, yours.
No. I mean, sometimes it would flicker on the red, but
Well, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
The ghosts aren't gonna, the ghosts
That's
aren't
what
going to
you're
stay
looking
still.
for.
It's literally going to be a quick blip, especially if it goes away right away,
Okay, it was like in that area.
close to the building.
Yeah.
Where that would have been wiring. Okay. Well, again, that's why you guys keep me around, to help debunk things out. All right, I say we go deep dive into these, get away from the ponies and football players. What do you
Okay,
think? All
got
right,
it.
let's go do this. I am excited about the word list so far. I will do all that. That's crazy that there's those names there. I can't hear them.
Hey, Pat.
We're actually going to talk about people later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Once it's cooled down, the silver pot in the middle is removable. You can just take that out and then you strain it. And then if you want to capture the juices on the bottom, put something on the bottom to capture some of the juices. It's up to you guys. No, it's up to you guys. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
No carbon there.
All right. So now that's definitely not wiring, because I know for a fact that there's no wiring underneath us. So that's a good thing. So let's talk about why we're here. This place used to be home to Charles and Eliza Pinckney. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot, Eliza's garden.
Really? Am I that boring with
No,
this?
no, no.
We just flew in here from this morning, so we're still.
It's not like you're on jet lag.
I know. I know it was an hour flight.
that
but
time-
I know y'all are from Florida.
I'm
All
not
that
used to
time
waking up
change
this
from
early,
Florida.
guys.
She missed her nap today.
Yeah, I missed my nap.
You know, that sounds like my wife. Like, she was off today, and of course, like, I'm trying to spend time with her with the new camera, and she falls asleep on me. And I'm like, she was off. She cuddled up with the dogs.
Yep.
So, Eliza's garden was right behind Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing where the slave and servant quarters. I see that yawn underneath the mask. Sorry, I will point them out all night if they're there. That's just my job. I work at night, so I'm a night owl, obviously. But anyway, we are standing where the slave and servant quarters would have been for the home. So let's talk about why we're here. I want to also let the Spirit Box folks know that I will not give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You will not get the answers from me until just before we leave. You will have to get the answers from your Spirit Boxes. That's why it was important for me to get you to understand how to use them. So, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. That's many S's at the end of it, unlike Carmel. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. I don't like politics. Y'all are on vacation. Let's move on. I just have to bring it up just because there's so many different Charleses here. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards, not colonial times of where she's from. So according to today's standards, she was pretty young. At that point, Charles was over double her age. I'm not going to give you either of those numbers. So if you want to ask her as we're exploring this space, by all means, you can ask them both how old they were when they got married to each other. Eliza married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his children one last time. She didn't believe he was dying, so she got married instead. This is 1744. There's no such thing as a green card or marrying for citizenship because we're not even a country yet. So she did marry him out of love, and after he died, yes, she remained a widow. Everybody wants to ask that question. That's why I bring it up. So, Dad didn't die right away. Something touched you? Is that what you
That
said?
hit my leg. It felt like a little pebble. Someone threw a pebble? Did you throw a pebble?
No, but I'm going to tell you why that's relevant here in a moment. It hit your left leg?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to give away some answers. So, I know, right? That's actually very relevant, to be honest. See, I'm losing track. You guys are capturing stuff. Too good. So, Dad, she was right. Dad didn't die right away. He starts sending her gifts to this place where she lived after she's married. That one of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. So we got it on tonight. That's how we still use it. So she obviously didn't know how it worked and how to keep it cultivated in our obviously not warm temperatures all the time. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going. So once she figured it out, she moved it to a plantation, another home of the Pinckneys in Mount Pleasant, just north of here, and then calls her dad and says the rice plantations are going downhill. Give me some contacts. We'll make millions. Well, I don't know about colonial times making millions, but it was a lot of money. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of during this time frame. I'm just giving you the basic gist of what her career looked like. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. Paranormal stuff is weird. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. One wife died, then 6 months later he married this Eliza. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. If you want to know which Eliza we're speaking to, ask for her maiden name, the name she had before she married Charles. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. Probably take a guess, because there's not many tragedies you can go after that's going to destroy a home.
Earthquake.
Earthquake.
I love the guesses already. So, then you can ask what year that happened. That one you won't be able to guess. You'll actually have to get that from your spirit boxes. The children, there's at least one that I told you of. His name is Charles, signer of the Constitution, but there are more. You can ask how many, what their names are. I'm going to give you one extra just because it's relevant to what happened. Thomas was the next born son. Thomas was a Revolutionary War hero. He fought in the Battle of Camden, just south of here. He was shot in his left leg, which left him on a cane the rest of his days. He was also captured during that time frame. I will have people in this lot say that their right leg is hurting to the point where they can't walk until we pick them up and get them out of here, and they're perfectly fine. It's happened at least 3 times in the past 2.5 years. So, I don't like to inflict pain on people or have people look for it. That's why I don't normally give it at the beginning while you guys are searching through answers in the spirit boxes. People do wish for that stuff, believe it or not.
What
But
did he say?
as far as the other children, ask their names, ask how many total children. But there is a tragedy. If you poke the bear too much, all activity will stop, including the activity we're getting on the K2 meter. Like, it's the weirdest thing. She does not want to talk about it. She might give you his name. That's about it. Let's see. Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. We're going to talk about it.
Who asks? All of us?
Us.
can.
Spirit boxes. Yep.
Spirit box who asks.
Boxers or briefs? Boxers or briefs?
Eliza's death is very significant as well. You can ask her how old she was when she died. You can ask her where she died from, and what U.S. president took her to her grave as a pallbearer. Very significant questions that are not yes or no questions. So, we are going to spread out inside this lot. I will say that we are in a space with other people's vehicles.
You
We're not
text
going
me
to go
some of
between.
those questions.
I'm always going to follow you. Stick with one or two. Stay away from vehicles. Those of you with cameras, we do not film other people's cars. Jackson, go get your camera started. And let's see if we can capture them. I'm going to check you guys in. I'm going to take care of that refund right now. Let's see if we can switch the people. And then I'll be following up and writing stuff down. You basically need to follow YAMILA and Jose with their devices. They're going to know where the spikes are. So,
4.8.
where at?
8.2.
8.2. Like, we're already there. That's awesome.
Eliza, where did you die from?
All right, let's spread out. 8.2 is at the highest one we've seen today. 3.5. Anything above 8.2 is what I'll be interested in.
Who walked you to your
I've only seen that
resting
one
place?
other time when I was actually walking by people. And that
Who
was
walked you to your resting place? Who walked you to your resting place?
Oh, I didn't show you how to use that motion.
Who brought you to your resting place? 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 Who brought you to your resting place?
At what age did you get married?
Who brought you to your resting place?
I don't have to hit the bottom button on the bottom. Oh, the bottom. Oh, okay.
Who brought you to your resting place? Who brought you to your resting place? Who brought you to your resting place? Who brought you
And the 18.3 whatever.
to your resting place?
I've seen that go as high as 150 in here. It was like 148 to be exact. But I've seen that thing spike out at 198.
What is this?
So It's measuring electromagnetic fields. Anything electrical.
Oh, okay. And this is the motion.
Right. And then the bottom measures
Who brought you to the resting place? Guys, there's a car.
the 2.5 on
Who brought you to your resting place? Who brought you to your resting place? Brought you to your resting place? Who brought you to your resting place? Brought you to your resting place? What? I didn't.
Yes.
Yes. Yes? Yes. Jose, Mardo. Over here in this corner, Yami's gotten a lot of activity. Yeah.
In the corner here?
Who are you yelling at? Who's yelling at you?
That lady was like, I'm gonna be a ghost tour.
Oh.
Oh, they think we're looking for something. So they
No,
asked if
she-
we wanted to use our headlights. to
No,
help
she
them
just
look.
asked if we were doing a ghost tour and I said yes.
Oh.
Catching anything?
Sugar.
Dun 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 dun. Oh,
Four.
honey,
Yeah,
honey.
Sugar.
What do you want me to do?
Huh?
What do you want me to do?
Oh, like this area was a lot. That was so perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You see, like, mine's flickering all the way to the 45.
Do 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 do.
that's me.
Oh, so we low-key thought this was like a drug deal. Like, we were like, we think they're dealing drugs. And then I go, no, I'm pretty sure that guy's an infrared camera. It's gotta be a ghost hunt.
It
and
is.
Then, well, why are you taking him to the Old City Jail? I know it's under construction. That's where you gotta go for the ghost.
That's actually, we don't go to anything malevolent, and that's a little dark for the tour that I provide. Like, this is family friendly.
What do you mean? That's the best. Okay, well, Old City Jail on Magazine Street.
Magazine Street.
Yeah, it's West Side, but it was literally housed the first female serial killer in the.
I think those are evil spirits.
What?
Those are evil spirits.
They blink all down.
They are very aggressive females.
Eliza.
What was the reason?
Those girls don't want to use it as much as they
Passenger.
Eliza, are you
All right, what else we got? Anything else? We got the number 4. Did you say sugar? Okay.
Bless you.
I actually have the volume on the phone turned down. Because again, this thing, like all the, even the green bars you see, like that's all for aesthetic. It makes noises, it growls, it's scary shit that nobody cares about. And I'm like, I'd rather hear the spirit boxes. So like, there's no point in making all those things do the noises. We hear that people. I'm all about that word list.
Thomas Black. Hal 10. Ask him if Thomas was left.
Yeah.
Alright, you guys ready for some games?
No.
Kathy, did you get any? Kathy, did you get any good words?
Thomas Black?
Kathy, did you get any good words?
Yeah, man.
Well, I got words.
She thought she heard the N word.
Nutrition.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did
They did have slaves.
1,700 shows. Probably have slaves.
Alright, let's go ahead and turn yours down. We have everybody over here or somebody wandering.
No, Carlo.
I'm right here.
Leave this off.
Turn it down.
Yeah, you can leave it off for now. Carla, you can actually take a break with yours too. Go ahead and hit that stop button for me.
What'd you hear? I didn't hear anything of any. I got noticed.
No, like Jim.
So last night they also heard Jim, and I debunked it pretty quickly because we're talking about the 1800s here, and even though James would be an acceptable answer, that might turn that off from here. This is a quiet area, so I asked Marcella to turn his device down too. This is a hotel right above you guys, so again, this is why it's a brief stop. But Jim, back in the 1800s, would not have been a nickname for James. So, at least not to my knowledge. Like, bump that one pretty quickly. But it is interesting that it came up 2 nights in a row. So, again, maybe there is something to that. The reason I asked for names is because when we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So, Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the first streets we ever had. People used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. It's not a lengthy list, but I normally hear the same names over and over and over again, which are Benjamin and John. I get that about every 6 to 7 weeks. You guys have to imagine I'm out here 6 nights a week. So 2.5 years, Benjamin and John have shown up together every 6 to 7 weeks. They both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. Can I find anything else significant about these people or what happened in here in 1801? Can't. It's just the fact that it's happening over and over and over again. They're walking on Belgian blocks. They're made purely of granite. Anything that comes pure from the earth, like limestone or granite, is said to be part of the stone tape theory, which basically states that it holds on to the consciousness of memories of things that happened here. So, could this be part of it? It's a great possibility. It's a very interesting space. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, which is why it's called Lodge Alley. We do get a lot of terms around the Freemasons as well. Freemason, Mason, brick, Illuminati, like all of these things have popped up in the past. Here, the Masonic lodges here are shown up before. They did do a archaeological dig underneath these bricks, unlike the Pinckney Mansion site where they've never done a dig. They did find some of their tools and software, clothing, classify these people as lower class. I told you they lived in shotgun houses down here. That's 1 and 2 room houses. These people didn't have a whole lot of money. It makes sense because the other side of the wall would have been across the street on East Bay Street. The smell of low tide coming through here quite a bit. We talked about low tide with the houses down by the Battery. These people didn't have that luxury on the same floor. In fact, they're probably standing on someone's stoop back in the 1800s. This is how close their neighbor was. These were not pleasant times. So, again, very interesting space. I've touched shadow figures here before. I've gotten, obviously, Benjamin and John has happened here a lot. We will hear children's laughter on the spirit boxes, and I've seen the word toddlers come up quite often on the digital word list. Again, can't really find anything super significant relatable to Charleston other than the living conditions that these people actually had to go through while they were here. As far as EMF detection, it'd be surprising if you get anything above maybe a 1 or 2, and if you do, make sure you're standing in the middle and not next to one of the buildings to be able to capture that. And as far as your device, I've seen it go off in here, but there's really... Did you shut it off by accident? Nope. It's just right in here. Any other words that popped up on your word list?
I got favorite, question, Madison.
Madison could be a name, a last name. So I'll definitely dive into that one as well. And for some odd reason, that sounded very familiar, even to last night's tour, like Jim and Madison showing up together. I don't know why. I'll have to look at it. And I don't hide your guys' data. It's all separated by month. So you can go and look at the previous days worth of tours. If you want to see what happened on your birthday, it's all up on my website for a full year. So the website's giant, obviously, because I do this so much. And there's a lot of, obviously, video and audio to listen to. But yeah, I want to look at the last 2 nights worth of audio and the spirit boxes just to see if Jim Madison showed up. And I think that just sounds familiar with me trying to research and find out who it was. So very interesting, especially since it's repeating itself, like our stone tape theory. And we did not hear Marcelo. I'm sorry. All right, so from here, guys, we're going to go through the rest of the alley. We're going to go to another alley, one that I can't take you down. You guys join the weird group with all your business. All right. So you guys can take footage here if you'd like. Just keep in mind other tourists don't want to be filmed, so don't be so obvious, Carla. I like how I call everybody out. So I made fun of you and back in the alley too. I'm like, he couldn't wait to turn that thing back on. All right, so can everybody see down the alley? You guys want to scoot down a little bit further? She's like, you're dead center. Of course you can. Yes. Ooh. So this is Philadelphia Alley. This is where our duels used to occur. We named it Philadelphia Alley because that city is just easy for me to remember because that's where Eliza's buried. No, I'm kidding. We named it that because Philadelphia helped us out of one of our many, many fires, right? So it used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where the duels occurred, as it was brought up already. So we all tell the story of one specific duel because it actually happened and we can prove it. Cool thing is you guys have spirit boxes and crazy gadgets to hopefully capture more evidence. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money. He's supposed to get married. But the attorney handling all that money for her told her to get rid of the doctor. He's just after her cash. So, to prove that he's not, he comes here to Charleston. The coachman that brings him into town sets him up to be robbed and killed. It's not a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs. Keep in mind what you guys are doing tonight. You're actually ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So our I will show up here, but we need that secondary clue so we know who the hell it belongs to. Ralph says, hey man, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. So I got somewhere else for you to stay. It's at 59 Church Street. That's right, the next block, by the way. So he stays at 59 Church Street, and the doctor and Ralph become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money on his own. Amanda's moving down soon. He obviously proved his point. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit has some kind of whistle. Ours just happens to be a doctor. With all of that, Ralph and the doctor go see plays together, but the doctor makes more money. So he gets better seats when they go see the plays. They can't sit next to each other. They talk about the plays on the way home. One night, after seeing William III from Shakespeare, they start arguing about the new actress that was here. The doctor loved her. Ralph didn't think so. It turns into an ugly argument when Ralph starts insulting Amanda back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. You goes to his friends at the newspaper and puts an ad in the paper about what he thinks of the doctor, so the whole city of Charleston can see it, including the doctor. The doctor rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. So they come down, they take the 20 paces, they turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point, have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor does not die. He is carried home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Keep in mind, this is a doctor, so he probably tried to heal himself by bleeding out the bullet. They say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I know it sounds like a myth and a legend, but I used to take my teams down there before I got caught and booted out by the new neighbor at the end of the road. I have whistles that you cannot debunk. However, keep in mind, if you walk down there on your own and you're listening on your voice recorders, because if you turn them on, everybody walking down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side, the locals will throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way back to my garage. We end up there, my garage is right there. So every night when I'm on the path, I always throw a whistle down. It's not going to be super loud and clear. I will tell you that this is probably one of the most beautiful spaces we have in Charleston, and it is probably one of the most picturesque. You guys can probably see all the way down to the end of the alley, aside from that tour group right in the middle. But the lighting down there is gorgeous, and it is super quiet, even 3 blocks away from East Bay Street, which is obviously very busy. So take that for what it's worth. They also say you can hear gunshots, but I have no evidence of that whatsoever. I gave a lot of key words in that story that I'll be listening for during our time frame from Lodge Alley to here, even to the next space throughout the rest of the night. So 59 is a big one, obviously, because that's the address. Doctor, anything dealing with medicine, Ralph, R.I. There's a lot of key words in there. Even the word Thomas and then the word Rose are relevant because 59 Church Street is now known as the Thomas Rose House. It is the only house that has a historical marker in the front of it that tells a ghost story, and it's the one I just told you. So, very interesting tale, and again, we will get terms from this story for the rest of the night. It is almost a guarantee. So I normally don't guarantee anything with ghost hunting because they're not on the payroll. I can't make them do what I want, but it's almost every single night. It just starts here and it keeps going through the rest of our time together. Where's our word list? What do we got?
Consideration, clown, harm, past, slip, gateway, meet, village, bench.
Okay, so gateway. Just on the right, if you're walking down this alley from this street, Cumberland, there is a gate on the right-hand side. That gate was there for a reason. The alley didn't always come this far to Cumberland Street, so during the dueling times, if there was a loser, they would take them through that gate over the courtyard of whatever that is right now to take them to St. Philip Cemetery. It was a shortcut. So I don't even know where I found that little nugget of knowledge, but it makes sense based on the geography of what actually occurred down this alley and the way it was shaped and formed. Again, it didn't always come down this far. It wasn't until the late 1800s until it came all the way to Cumberland. So gateway is actually somewhat relevant. It says Death Gate, which is normally the nickname I give to it, and I'm sure the doctor and Ralph both know I call it that because I say it out loud all the time. I normally point it out at our next stop because you can actually see it from here. So I was waiting for other things that were going to be relevant to. There's like 15 stories on that corner, so I want you to kind of keep an eye on it and let me know have you guys heard anything on your spirit boxes? I know you probably don't even have them turned up because I'm chatting.
Yeah.
And Marcelo's is way down too. All right, so we can definitely stop your film from here, and we're going to go see what's going on up there in the corner.
They know what happened.
Did you get any lyrics out of it?
So I heard Misery, and then I also heard the full lyric of Every Time the Sun Goes Down, and they know what happened to
Okay. Go ahead and turn that one down again. Did you hear anything along the way? All right, so a couple of things. Let's kill that thing for me, would you? You give me stuff to hit buttons, and I'm not allowed to hit the buttons. So, a couple of different things here. Behind you is that gateway I was telling you guys about. If you want.
The entire time.
Great. I started it off on the left, so I'll see what I can do. Most of your video might be upside down, unfortunately.
Carlo, you have one job.
How dare you?
I think you're doing
a great
earthquake
job.
bolts are. Those are the very first set of earthquake bolts that we put in Charlestown. I point them out because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It is a gunpowder magazine. It's a museum now. I told you guys about the original Charlestown wall. That street over here, that's Cumberland, where we were standing for Philadelphia Alley story. That's where the wall stood. It went up past the powder magazine and is started going south towards the battery behind me. It's walked into the corner on purpose. If it gets attacked by pirates or any other warship from 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls. There's gunpowder inside. But let's say it goes all the way through and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand underneath the roof from 1712 that's supposed to explode with the gunpowder in the air and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's a great idea that doesn't work. Just like those bolts, they don't work. So, and the sand is still there because this building has never been attacked and the sand does not disintegrate. Did some repairs on the roof in the 1990s, not me myself, but the city, and they did find that the sand was still intact. So, yeah, very interesting. This building has served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. The reason why I bring all of this up is because during this building's construction, it took 10 years to build that little tiny building up there in the front. Does that sound like our government? Not at all. 1703 to 1713 is a construction age. 1708 is where our story begins. A young lady moves here named Anne Cormack. She moves here from Ireland. She's with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys following me so far? Okay, good. The 3 of them are getting away from his angry wife. How pissed off was she in 1708 that you gotta get on a boat to get the hell away from her? Just saying. They land in Georgetown, just north of here. Mom dies pretty quickly. Dad starts sending young Anne to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. We're here because this building is familiar to Anne. So let's move on. Fast forwarding to 1713. Building is done. 1715. Pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. Anne's kind of a badass. Back home in Ireland, they say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. She was about 7 or 8 years old. So keep that mentality in the back of your mind for the rest of the story. When pirates are here, she falls in love pretty quickly. The guy's name is James Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate, right? And so they move away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. You guys are from Florida, you probably already heard this damn story before. So, really? Nothing?
I know. I watched that show on Stars.
Black Sail.
Yeah.
Black Tail?
Yeah.
Actually, there's, I haven't watched that, but there is a great documentary on Netflix about all of the pirates during this age. It was amazing. It was like watching a movie. But anyway. Lost Kingdom of Pirates is the name of that. Oh, they run away to Jamaica, they get married, right? So, this is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. This is, basically, he's a privateer, spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. So, a few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. Calico Jack is named that because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. So, he's a very dapper young man, and yes, he has his own ship, but Anne wants to be part of it, but females curse pirate ships. I know it's for females and curses on my tour, but that's the way it works. He makes a deal with her. You can become part of the crew if you dress like the crew and hide your gender. She's good with this because Dad used to hide her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, all right, let's do this. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters. Of course, that's how that went. He's the captain. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She eventually gets pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. It's just not going to work out. He drops her off in, cute. Go have the baby, come back later, and figure it out from there. So, what happens is she has the baby, but returns with no child. No idea what happened to the baby. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. He just captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck, and Anne's going to go flirt. We're on guy number 3, in case you all lost track. Guy number 3 that she's flirting with down below deck turns out to be a female, just like a guy to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. Her name is Mary Read. Now she convinces Mary to become part of the crew, and the British find out where they are. It's Anne and Mary that are fighting back. They're the only ones fighting back because they're the only ones not drunk enough to come up and fight back. With their 1-bullet muskets trying to take on the entire British fleet. Now, 2 women taking on a fleet, not going to happen, right? So the ship does get taken. What happens is, as she's being arrested, she looks at Calico Jack and she says, you should have fought like a man instead of going down with a dog. The word dog will show up here quite often. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. Gary tries and hangs Calico Jack and all the other men, and the 2 ladies go in front and they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. He's going to hang them anyway because they're still pirates. So they plead their bellies, basically saying, we're both pregnant. You can't hang us. It is illegal to hang a pregnant woman in 1720. You just can't do it. So he sends them both back to jail. Dad's still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She died. She remarries again. That's husband number 4. I'm sorry, lover number 4, not husband number 4. Has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Sorry, I got all those numbers mixed up in my head. Mary Read, she dies years later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. It's probably bumpy and scurvious and gross and whatever. Now, this is a very open space. The only two questions that I did not give you, because I told you this was going to progress, you can ask whatever you want to. I do leave two things open-ended, just because you need something to start off with. You can ask what the name of Calico Jack's ship was, and you can ask the name of Anne Bonny's parents. Those I can prove for certain. Everything else is fair game. I did tell you, and Jose, I think you were the one supposed to remind me to tell the fainting story here. This is our last stop. Good job, Jose. You reminded me. So, a couple of months ago, I'm telling this story back here. I'm getting ready to tell the story. I bring my group back here, and a young man standing next to me goes white as a ghost, starts to fall. Of course, me being in the field that I'm in, I immediately pick him up by the shoulder. His boyfriend picks him up on the other side, and we carry him over to that wall over there. I send the boyfriend over to go get a bottle of water for him, bring it back, he's starting to feel better. Then I tell the story after he's feeling better. I send everybody out with their devices to go have fun, and they stay back and say, Nick, we need to tell you something. What do you got? I say, we are two transgender males. And it now makes complete sense. I had two females dressed like males on my tour. And before I even told the story, one of them passed out. And when I say white as a ghost, I mean white as a ghost. So take that for what it's worth. Your devices in here, this is a hit or miss. We're either going to have a great big grand finale or a great big nothing. Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town because we do have other buildings that are going to be from that time period. This is one of the places that tourists are allowed to go. Tour guides are allowed to take you. So it's one of those places where I can take you. However, I didn't believe the story at first. So once I get kicked out of Philadelphia Alley last Thanksgiving, it was the night before, November 26th. November 27th, I had the night off because it's Thanksgiving. November 28th rolls around, and I bring my group up here, and I tell them, I'm like, I don't know much about this story. Let's see if we can get out of it. I get the number 300, and I get the name Anne. 300 is definitely relevant because November 28th, 1720 was the date of Anne and Mary's trial in front of the Chief Justice Nicholas Fox. And then we had Anne's name. Damn it, now I need to learn about pirates. So, I'm a vampire guy for sure, and I know a whole hell of a lot of pirates now. I won't say I know everything, I'm still learning, always. But Anne's story that I just told you came from at least 5 or 6 different books that I read on her life alone, and I only told you the common things among multiple books. So, again, this story has a lot of holes in it, so let's try to fill them in, ask whatever questions you want to. Those of you with cameras, if you want to go to the front of the powder magazine, meaning you have to exit the lot, you can do that. Just do not interrupt other tours. They already don't like me, because I take a lot of their business. But at the same time, just wait for them to go, and so forth and so on. Other tours also like to pitch you their tours in this location, guys, just so you know. So if somebody stops you and you want to think about the tour, let them and let them go on. They're not going to be as cool as us because we have gizmos and gadgets. EMF meters will not go off in here. If something does go off, I will be very excited. So the two of you, if you guys actually get anything, I will be stoked. So please let me know if you find anything that comes out of there. We are going to end on that wall. Do you guys want to see what Anne looks like before you guys get started?
Yeah.
All right. And your batteries already swapped out on the other camera, so that's good.
There's no significance with 1731. 1731.
Why?
No, not to my knowledge.
Where'd you hear that?
Oh, I heard 1731 and he kept saying like 1721. Whatever.
That's interesting. So this is what Anne looked like. This is one of the few pictures that I could find of her with a shirt on. Anne liked to bare her breast to any men that she killed to show that they were just killed by a woman. So again, we had a lot of teenage boys on the group. So where is? I have a picture of Calico Jack too. It's a woodcut, so you can at least get the feel of what he looked like. Again, very dapper young man. He wore the jackets of the men he killed. So this was the beau. He wasn't the husband. This was he tried to buy the dowry from James Bonny, the first husband, and Bonny refused. So she was still married to James Bonny that entire time until she remarried again after she came back to Charleston. So she's only had 2 husbands, 4 lovers. So, because yes, we're counting Mary Read, because we have no idea what the hell happened. All right, let's spread out.
No judgment.
I know, right? Let's see what we can discover. Let's do this. How's your word list coming? I'll be honest.
Card, franchise, habitat,
Watch out.
So your camera, Carlo, just so you know, in this lot, it likes to act up. Like it'll stop recording. It'll make other devices stop working. I've seen it I don't know how many times. So, be interested to see how much of your video is actually upside down.
Just a portion. Too much.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. If I can flip it, I'll flip it.
That's okay.
Get a little bit over there because of the parking meters.
What are you afraid of? Where are we?
It's a cheap lake on a hot summer day. I tell people, go spend 30 minutes and pull off. It's $5 a person. It's quick. It's not small. You don't need double.
No, Marcelo.
Should be. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's putting brains together all the time. I mean, I'm a great outside investigator. I'll put all the clues together, but you guys find stuff for yourselves. That makes it even that much better. That's a little nuts that you're not moving and it's going up. What company? Dude, you keep breaking my shit.
Jackson.
Said it might freeze up.
Addison.
I know. Doesn't mean that it isn't. I just don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, I told you I wouldn't make anything up. Like, yeah, sure, Addison. No, I have no proof. And I can't prove it. So, I wouldn't have been able to walk away from you guys without giving you guys nothing but truth on it. Would you back on the board? Give it a few more minutes since what the spirit box is running. Again, this is a big hit or a big miss.
I'm getting a lot of phrases. Like,
Like what?
no. I can't remember them.
Something had to pop up.
Something happened. Threats stuck in my mind. Well, only because we were talking about pirates.
Okay. Part of subliminal messaging. I give you a topic,
Is, yeah. I mean,
and people hear a lot of watery type terms here, like fish out of water. You know what I mean? No ratings at all, Jose? Because what that does is that blocks the buttons when it slides down.
Oh.
And a lot of times I clip the temperature off. So that it can make it control. You can take that back.
Just started believing that his son died.
Tell me something, Ann.
No other words? Nothing coming up?
Who is your true love, Ann? Who is your true love, Ann?
That's a long phrase.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a threesome?
Okay. What are they doing? What did they do?
How many threesomes do you have?
Alright. So, spirit box is down, turn off your end of things. So what's going to happen from here is I'm going to start blending the devices. We heard they believe spirit boxes. So what does that mean? That means it's not radio chatter. And what did it say? I didn't do it. And it was right next to Philadelphia Alley. So, I don't get a whole lot of disembodied voices, which is why we slow our spirit boxes down, because you guys aren't used to it. What's it say?
James.
As in James Bond. Ooh. Okay. So we're going to let yours run till the end, just in case something else pops up. Who has the recordable red spirit box? Who has a little red tag on their cord? It's you. So we're going to let yours run for a few more minutes too, so just to see if anything else is going to pop up. You guys can ask me a million questions, like I'm an open book. I'm going to get you guys my card, so you at least have my contact info, and that way you guys can get in touch with me for when you guys discover more. What questions, comments, concerns? Was this what you guys were hoping for? Something you had no idea what you're getting yourselves into? Talk to me. What do you guys got?
Very cool. Yeah.
What
I
different?
never, obviously, I mean, it was the first one,
This is the
so
first one
I
I've
had
ever
no
done.
expectations. But
Well,
No one
Yeah,
even
we
told me
did
where
it.
we were going.
What's that?
No one told me where we were going, so.
They didn't want you to scream out Obama.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And yet, it's
I'm glad it wasn't as scary as I thought.
I'll let yours run. I'll take your camera.